I think Chaudhary Devilal also remembered this gesture for his entire life.
Yes.
He must have been calling you and thanking you for your gesture.
He did remember, and in fact, on one of his visits to by then we were in Hisar, on one of his public meetings in Hisar, he noticed me in the audience, and after the event, he said to me, "Okay, so I'm very happy to see you again. आप बताइए आपको कहाँ जाना है? What would you like?" And I said, "I don't want anything," and he was quite surprised. कहाँ posting करना है, क्या करना है? So I said, "Thank you, sir." So he did remember, but I didn't do it for any gain, immediate or long term. I did it as a humanitarian thing because I thought that was the right thing to do.
Somebody who has put in almost 38 years in Indian administrative service in Haryana. She has been looking after women issues, gender issues. She has worked on number of positions in Haryana government as well as center. She has worked with United Nations Population Fund, UNIFEM, and presently, even after retirement, she is working with HomeNet, an organization working for women working from their homes. Not essentially for their home, but for as good for good in goods and services. So let's welcome Ms. Firoza Mehrotra, 1974 batch IAS officer. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am,
Thank you.
for Indian Masterminds.
Thank you.
So let's begin with your work and let me again introduce you to the fact that she is one of the contributors to this beautiful book called Rear View, Tales of Administration and Diplomacy. And we have just spoken to your husband. So we'll come to that later, but first tell me about your first posting. Coming from, say, a place like Maharashtra with a Gujarati mother tongue and Parsi culture, suddenly landing into the heartlands of Haryana, which has a completely different dialect. When they speak, you feel that as if they're trying to intimidate you, or maybe about to hit you. So, how was the cultural difference?
Well, yes, it was a big culture shock, but I think I was able to take it in my stride. I learned very quickly the nuances of Haryanvi. One being, वो जा रहे हैं means he has already left. Whereas in Hindi, वो जा रहे हैं means
He's
going. And I faced this many times because we didn't have any direct dialing on phones. In those days, when we first joined service, there was a number please system. The operator used to connect you to whoever.
Right.
And if ever I phoned anybody in the district headquarters, my first posting was as SDM Mahendragarh, the operator used to say, he cannot connect me because वो जा रहे हैं. I said, वो जा रहे हैं तो उसको रोको. He said, नहीं वो जा रहे हैं. So very soon I learned that वो जा रहे हैं means
he
has already left. And there were other small things, but yes, they are brash, but they are very honest and straightforward people. Very simple, straightforward people. Never will stab you in the back, or so that was a very big plus point, to be plain speaking.
Yeah. In one of your anecdotes, which you have mentioned in the book, Emergency Within the Emergency, and it talks about your stint as SDM Mahendragarh, and one of the person who was in Mahendragarh jail at that time, sub jail, was Mr. Devila, and he faced some health issues, and we were not supposed to take him out of the jail because of the political pressures. It was emergency, and Congress government did not want him to come out of the jail. And there was a medical emergency. So how did you deal with that?
Yes, so that was quite a test for me. Chaudhry Devilal, as many people know, was a man of great stature, a very tall man, both politically as well as culturally for Haryana and also later on for India. And Mahendragarh sub-jail was one of the worst jails. And since he was a political enemy, he was put into the Mahendragarh jail, where I was as SDM, the jailer. And we used to have regular health checkups for all the inmates. Soon after one of his health checkups, he complained of chest pain and a lot of feeling of uneasiness. So there was the doctor who used to look after the subdivision, Dr. Agnihotri. I still remember him very fondly. So I immediately requested him to come and check out Chaudhry Devilal. And he said, things don't look good. We need to move him to a better health facility, the closest being Rohtak Medical College. We had instructions that they were not to be moved out at all. And normally, any inmate is not to be moved out without permission, more so a political person. And so I did the next best thing. Since the Deputy Commissioner was on leave, I contacted the Home Department in Chandigarh, and they flatly said that he should not be moved. I was in a quandary, but it didn't take me long to take my decision, because on the one hand, there were the rules and the instructions from Chandigarh, and on the other hand, there was a humanitarian question to save the life of a person. So I immediately opted for the second alternative and decided that we need to move him. But how to move him was the question. As SDM, you don't have many resources. I had a open jeep. In those days, SDMs only had open jeeps.
Not even cover?
No cover. Mahindra jeeps. And I requested the DSP, who was the police person in that subdivision, to please give me police escort. And he flatly refused, because he had already got message from Chandigarh to say,
no,
we should not be moving Chaudhry Devilal. However, I decided that come what may, he has to be moved. His life has to be saved. And so I asked my driver, very faithful old Bishambar Das. And first he was a bit hesitant, but then he realized also, I think. And I put Chaudhry Devilal in the front seat between the driver, and I sat on the other side, which was again quite an unusual thing, because you don't usually sit so close to a political person, especially if he's one like Chaudhry Devilal. And I thought, well, this is the best thing I could do, because even if he had any thoughts of trying to escape, he was too much of a old world gentleman to push me out of the jeep. And so for his own safety and my safety, we undertook this journey of about 2 hours. The roads were not very good at that time. And also he was not, and the doctor told us he should not get too many bumps, because it looked like a heart condition. So we had to go slow, but we finally reached Rohtak. The doctor was very good. He had, in anticipation, alerted the Rohtak Medical College that we'd be coming. So they were ready to receive him. And the police was also there to escort. And so we were able to get him to the hospital in time and save his life, which the rest is history, I think. He has been Chief Minister of Haryana twice. He has been Deputy Prime Minister of India twice, though for short times. So, and a very tall Jat leader.
That's right, ma'am. But I'd like to know what were the repercussions of your decision because you defied the government.
So immediately there was no immediate repercussions. Of course, there was a verbal dressing down, very strong, not only to me, but also to the SDM Narnaul, who was holding charge of the Deputy Commissioner Narnaul, who incidentally was my husband, Vivek. So he also got a dressing down, though he, poor fellow, had no role to play in this at that particular
But
time.
had you informed him that you are taking this step
I informed him at a personal level, not
officially?
so. Yes, and then shortly thereafter, I was transferred. But transfers are part of our service.
Right.
And normally in the junior scale, you don't get posted to Chandigarh, especially as an undersecretary with absolutely zero facilities. And as it is, your salary is also quite shoestring.
Right.
But we were both prepared for these kind of things. It's a price you have to pay for your own
Steadfastness.
yes. So that was fine.
Yeah. And I think Chaudhary Devilal also remembered this gesture for his entire life.
Yes.
He must have been calling you and thanking you for your gesture.
He did remember, and in fact, on one of his visits to by then we were in Hisar, on one of his public meetings in Hisar, he noticed me in the audience, and after the event, he said to me, "Okay, so I'm very happy to see you again. आप बताइए आपको कहाँ जाना है? What would you like?" And I said, "I don't want anything." And he was quite surprised. कहाँ posting करना है? क्या करना है? So I said, "Thank you, sir." So he did remember, but I didn't do it for any gain, immediate or long term. I did it as a humanitarian thing because I thought that was the right thing to do.
Yeah. And in the initial years, you were mostly posted in rural area, rural development and such as postings, which are considered to be very soft postings. So was it by choice or was it whatever was given to you and you took it?
No, it was whatever was given to you. I think when I entered service, and we believe and sincerely believe, and till today I believe that whatever posting you get, do your best, put in your best, because there's no such a thing as a good posting or a bad posting. It is the perception is that in others' eyes, not in my eyes. So I always make the best of everything. And in fact, one of the postings of putting me in Women and Child turned out to be actually really good for me, because that was where I then finally specialized and gained my became my forte, and till today it is. So everything happens for the best.
Yeah, that's right. You started your work in Haryana, which is notorious for its skewed sex ratio. That when you landed in Haryana, there was a lady who was being thrashed by her husband. So, what was that cultural shock, and what did people tell you on that?
Yes, so I think you're referring to the incident of one of my first field visits, and I went to this village, and I noticed that a woman was being thrashed, and there was a huge crowd all around, being thrashed by a man, and there was a crowd all around, and I tried to intervene, and I said, "Why? What is happening?" And people told me, "Ye ghar ka mamla hai," meaning it's a household matter. It's not none of anyone's business. And I thought to myself, "Agar ye ghar ka mamla hai, then why are there so many people enjoying the spectacle?" Anyway, I tried to intervene and stop the thrashing. And the man who was beating her said, "She is my wife and this is my right." And on questioning the woman, she also took the same stand and said, yes, he is my husband, so he's allowed to beat me, because this is one of the 7 Sat Feras that we take when we get married. She thought she'd fool me. Maybe I didn't look very Haryanvi. And I sort of explained to her, because I had just recently only been married according to Hindu rites, and I knew very well what the
What the 7 was there.
Yes. And so I tried to object to that and explain to people, but of course that was not to be. However, the beating at least stopped and people dispersed.
And that must have been a big cultural shock.
Yes.
What kind of society is that? And as I began that, when you joined, the sex ratio was so skewed. Means I think 850 or maybe even less women per 1,000 men.
Yes, yes. Very, very, very bad. It's improved slightly over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But now we've had no census, so we don't know exactly, but yes.
But I read somewhere that and in 2021, the number had come up to 921. And again, last year, it has, 2022, it slipped to 911. So again, this slip means after coming to 923, it has again gone back to 911.
Yeah. See, sex ratio is a very difficult indicator. What sex ratio are we looking at? The overall sex ratio, child sex ratio, or sex ratio at birth? Then there are many sources. So there are a lot of permutations and combinations we need to look at. And the best judge for looking at whether there's discrimination against the girl child is the sex ratio at birth, which unfortunately we don't have very good data for.
That's all for today. Let's take a break. We will return shortly with another segment of conversation with Ms. Firoza Mehrotra, where we will talk to her about her work on gender issues. Till then, keep watching Indian Masterminds. Stay curious, stay informed. Also, like and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get notifications. Thank you.